Hello there, it's midnight and you're tuning into Nightline with me, Azaria Tagaya. The top stories. Overnight downpour triggers flash floods in Clang Valley affecting major highways. And Prime Minister wants MOUs with China to be rolled out without delay. Good morning. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim has instructed that all memoranda of understanding MOUs inked between Malaysia and China be realised as soon as possible. Government spokesman Datuk Fahmi Fadil said the Prime Minister had stressed the importance of ensuring that the MOUs are carried out without delay.
Sebagai contoh, Yang Berhormat Menteri Pengangkutan dalam satu acara baru-baru ini ada menyebut tentang cadangan Twin Hub di antara lapangan terbang antarabangsa KLIA dan juga lapangan terbang antarabangsa di Henan. Jadi ini antara perkara yang telah menyaksikan perkembangan yang agak pantas.
Fahmi said this during his weekly media conference in Putrajaya on Wednesday. A total of 31 MOUs were signed between Malaysia and China during President Xi Jinping's state visit last week. They cover a wide range of cooperation sectors including trade, transport, education, tourism and digital technology. He added that the Cabinet had agreed for the Foreign Ministry to take the lead in coordinating the implementation of the signed agreements. Meanwhile, Fahmi said the Prime Minister is set to deliver an explanatory session on the United States' tariffs during a special parliamentary sitting scheduled for May 5th. The sitting, which will commence with Anwar's address, will conclude with responses from both the Finance Ministry and the Investment, Trade and Industry Ministry. The move to convene the special sitting has been described as appropriate and timely to address the issues concerning Trump's tariffs. Speaking to Nightline, economist Professor Jeffrey Williams said the May 5th sitting should focus on costs and benefits of the possibility of a negotiated deal with the US.
Now, the IMF has said that Malaysian economic growth will be slower during 2025 and next year in 2026. And the forecast has been cut from 4.7% this year to 4.1%. That is an equivalent loss of 11.6 billion ringgit. And if the reciprocal tariffs are imposed, that will be the cost to Malaysia of not getting a negotiated deal which could reduce the reciprocal tariffs or even remove the reciprocal tariffs. So that's the basic economic cost. What would be the benefits of a good negotiated deal in a positive sense? Well, if those tariffs are removed on Malaysian products, that puts Malaysia in a very good trading position, not just with the United States, but with other countries around the world. So it's essential that the cost and benefits of a possible negotiated deal with the United States are discussed at length and not a debate on the emotional response to the way that President Trump has approached this.
Malaysia wants to pursue a policy of engagement and diplomacy to safeguard its economic interests in response to the US tariffs and will not resort to countermeasures. Bank Muamalat Chief Economist Muhammad Afzanizam Abdul Rashid said the government will aim to strengthen trade ties with the US, a key trading partner, through cooperation.
Perhaps by looking at what has been complained by the US trade representative in various areas in their 31st March reports can be the basic premise for the discussion in order to get some concession with the US government. Perhaps like what has been indicated, they mentioned about the strict enforcement of halal certification, which is seen to be a major predicament for the US beef exporters to the Malaysian market. So perhaps this could be one of the key areas. And they mentioned also about the counterfeit products, which has been said to be widely available in Malaysian market. So those are the areas, another area that can be addressed as raised by the US trade representative.
The Clang Valley was hit by flash floods early on Wednesday, causing major disruptions on highways. In Selangor, a total of 86 houses were hit by a deluge following heavy rain on Wednesday. The affected areas include Sungai Buloh, Petaling Jaya and Subang Jaya. Selangor Fire and Rescue Department Assistant Operations Director Ahmad Mukhlis Mokhtar said they were alerted of the incident at 5:01 a.m. and 6:30 a.m. 80 houses were affected in Kampung Paya Jaras Hile, Sungai Buloh as floodwaters rose to a depth of 0.91 metres. In Kampung Baru, Sungai Buloh, 6 houses were reported to have been flooded to a depth of 0.60 metres due to overflow at Jalan Industri 4. Ahmad Mukhlis added that in Persiaran Damai, Kampung Kenangan, Subang Jaya, a car was stranded in waist-high water. No residents were evacuated and the water level has since receded. The rising water levels also caused flash floods on 2 major expressways. According to a statement by Plus Malaysia Berhad, flash floods were reported at kilometre 9.1 northbound on the North Clang Valley Expressway NKVE from Shah Alam to Subang. This caused the left and middle lanes to be obstructed, with traffic congestion stretching up to the Setia Alam interchange. A similar situation was also reported in the area surrounding the Shah Alam toll on the Elite Highway, where the motorcycle lane and the left lane were inaccessible due to rising waters. The continuous heavy rain also triggered a landslide, and this was at Kuala Lumpur's Tamanton Dr Isma TTDI. It was at about 7 a.m. that this perimeter wall at an international school on Lorong Datuk Sulaiman 2 collapsed. Soon after that, the Fire and Rescue Department was alerted, and that was at about 7:18 a.m. 15 firemen in 2 engines, one each from TTDI and Sri Hartamas, arrived at the scene. The rescue team's operations commander, Azkan Hamdan, said an initial safety assessment was conducted upon arrival. 2 vehicles were damaged, as well as parts of the school's building, including classrooms, teachers' rooms, restrooms and the library. No injuries were reported. The case has been handed over to Kuala Lumpur City Hall for further action. Meanwhile, in Selangor, heavy rainfall triggered a landslide in Kajang at a hill slope with a height of 12.2 metres near Jalan Haji Abdullah in Kampung Sungai Merap Luar. A spokesperson for the Selangor Fire and Rescue Department said a team of 8 firefighters from the Dengkil Fire and Rescue Station was deployed after they were alerted of the incident at about 8:50 a.m. There were no casualties or extensive damage, which affected only the main access road to and from the area. Meanwhile, a sustainable urban development approach. That's one way of addressing the flash flood woes in the Clang Valley. According to University Putra Malaysia's Muhammad Johari Muhammad Yusof, adopting the sponge city concept is a viable solution.
By maintaining these urban green spaces, it might allow this heavy rainfall being absorbed by these urban green areas. So the water can be easily absorbed and might slowing down the urban water surface runoff.
The Domestic Trade and Cost of Living Ministry KPDN is working with the Department of Islamic Development Malaysia JAKIM to remove Indonesian food products found to contain pork or porcine DNA from the market. Minister Dato' Armizan Muhammad Ali said swift action will be taken once the Indonesian government officially announces the affected products.
Sebaik saja kita mendapat makluman tersebut, kita telah pun mengadakan perbincangan dengan JAKIM untuk memastikan bahawa produk-produk tersebut dapat dikeluarkan segera daripada pasaran kita.
He said this at a media conference after the ministry's Hari Raya food products linked to the Indonesian halal controversy. The Indonesian Halal Product Assurance Organising Agency, in coordination with the Food and Drug Monitoring Agency, announced that it had detected porcine DNA contamination in processed food products in Indonesia. Indonesian authorities said out of 11 affected batches, 7 were found to have halal certification, while 2 were uncertified. Malaysia has become the first country granted approval by the Saudi Arabian government to distribute Nusuk cards to Hajj pilgrims domestically before their departure to the Holy Land. Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Religious Affairs, Datuk Muhammad Naim Mokhtar, said the approval acknowledges Malaysia's efficient Hajj management system. Last year, the cards were handed out in Mecca before the Wukuf ritual, but this year they will be distributed earlier to ease the pilgrims' mobility. If Malaysia succeeds in managing domestic distribution of the cards, the initiative will be extended to other countries. The minister said this is a significant acknowledgement from Saudi Arabia, made possible through the close and strategic cooperation between Tabung Haji and the Saudi government. The Nusuk card, introduced by the Saudi Ministry of Hajj and Umrah, serves as the official identification for all pilgrims worldwide. Naim also extended his appreciation to the Saudi government for its efficiency in issuing visas and improving the Nusuk card system. The imposition of US duties on solar panels from Southeast Asia will have far-reaching implications for the manufacturing base across the region. Federation of Malaysian Manufacturers FMM President Tan Sri Sotian Lai said Malaysia in particular had long served as a key hub in the global solar supply chain, producing solar photovoltaic PV products, especially cells and modules for export to major markets such as the US and Europe.
As a major exporter of solar PV products, the loss of cost competitiveness in the US market could force manufacturers in Malaysia to delay expansion, downscale operations, or even relocate. We therefore urge the government and industry to work together closely to mitigate the impact. Active participation in trade investigations and a strong institutional response are crucial to defending our interests and preserving Malaysia's role as a key clean energy manufacturing hub.
On Monday, the US government imposed new import duties on solar panels from Malaysia and 3 other countries due to benefits from Chinese subsidies and unfair pricing. So suggested that the government strengthen Malaysia's institutional framework for responding to trade remedy actions by establishing early warning mechanisms, coordinated legal advisory support and joint representation strategies. China on Wednesday said the door was quote-unquote wide open for trade talks with Washington, a day after US President Donald Trump signaled the possibility of a substantial lowering of tariffs on Beijing. Foreign Ministry spokesman Guo Jiakun reaffirmed Beijing's willingness to engage. He added that Beijing does not seek conflict but is not afraid to engage in one, and that the country is prepared to fight to the end if necessary. This comes in the wake of Trump's announcement that while the 145% tariffs imposed on a wide range of Chinese imports were very high, they will drop substantially as part of ongoing efforts to reach a new trade agreement. Exotic food smuggling attempt foiled. This and more from the local front after this breather.
Macam nak tengok video penuh. saksikan video muzik Raya Pop-Pop ditonton. Pop-Pop! Hai Pop!
Old Town White Coffee perisa kelapa baharu, gabungan kopi putih dan santan kelapa sebenar. Halus, berkrim dan lebih beraroma. Nikmati Old Town White Coffee perisa kelapa sekarang. Dapatkan rakan-rakan Old Town edisi istimewa. 3 rakan-rakan comel menanti anda. Beli 3 produk Old Town dan hantarkan resit. Kumpulkan ke semua sekarang.
Kita nak pop, pop, pop. Meriah satu kampung pop, pop, pop. Kita kasih Rio sampai besok. Kasih pop, pop. Raya pop, pop, pop.
Kalau kita sama-sama, tak ada siapa berani hadap kita. Aku, Gas. Haris suruh aku apa?
Ada drama baru lah kat Facebook. Nak download lah tu. Ingat jangan download ataupun share laman web cetak rompak. Jangan.
Back with us on Nightline. A student in Johor pleaded guilty in the Kulai Magistrates Court on Wednesday to possessing pornographic material on his mobile phone. The 16-year-old, whose identity has been withheld, entered his plea to the charge before Magistrate R. Salini. The minor, whose identity is protected under the law, was found to be in possession of 14 pornographic images on his mobile phone in Taman Indah Pura on April 8th. He was charged under the Penal Code, which carries a jail term of up to 3 years, a fine, or both upon conviction. However, the teen pleaded not guilty to a second charge of producing explicit content involving a 17-year-old girl by editing her images into pornographic material on April 9th. The second charge was framed under the Sexual Offences Against Children Act 2017, which deals with the production of child pornography. If convicted, the teen may be issued a warning, a good behaviour bond, or a fine. The court could also order for him to be placed at an approved school or the Henry Gurney School. Bail was set at 4,000 ringgit with one shorty for each charge. The court fixed June 23rd for mention. In the federal capital, a total of 22 foreigners were arrested during a factory raid conducted by the Immigration Department in Sungai Besi on Tuesday. Its Director General, Datuk Zakaria Shakban, said the operation was carried out at 11 a.m. across 3 factory locations, resulting in the detention of 18 Indian nationals and 4 Bangladeshis. The individuals, aged between 23 and 48, were found to be either undocumented or holding expired travel documents. The factory was involved in processing scrap electronic equipment, cables and wires from various countries to extract copper and aluminium. The factory employs foreign workers with monthly wages ranging from 1,500 ringgit to 2,000 ringgit and provides accommodation within the factory premises that fail to meet standards set by the Labour Department. The detained foreigners have been sent to the Semenyih Immigration Depot for further action. The case is being investigated under the Immigration Act, the Passport Act 1966 and the Immigration Regulations 1963. In Sabah, the Malaysian Maritime Enforcement Agency MMEA thwarted an attempt to smuggle exotic food worth 100,000 ringgit in Kudat waters early on Wednesday. The agency's Kudat Maritime Zone Director, Maritime Commander Hasbullah Omar, said the Malaysian Maritime Intelligence Unit detected suspicious activity in the Malawali Strait at about 2 a.m. and dispatched a patrol vessel to investigate. Authorities later found an abandoned boat 1.8 nautical miles northwest of Tanjung Layang-Layang, Pitas. The MMEA team discovered 500 kilograms of frozen clams, 200 kilograms of dried clams and 100 kilograms of frozen pangolins. The exotic goods were believed to be destined for neighbouring countries with high demand for illegal wildlife products. The boat and its cargo were seized and brought to the Kudat Marina Jetty for further investigation. The case is being probed under the Wildlife Conservation Enactment 1997 and the Fisheries Act 1985 for smuggling endangered species and processing marine products without a valid permit. Istanbul rocked by magnitude 6.2 quake. The details when Nightline returns.
Macam nak tengok video penuh, saksikan video muzik Raya Pop-Pop ditonton. Pop-Pop. Hai Pop.
Kalau kita sama-sama, tak ada siapa berani hadap kita. Aku, guys. Habis suruh aku apa?
Kita nak pop, pop, pop. Meriah satu kampung pop, pop, pop. Kita kasih Rio sampai besok. Kasih pop, pop. Raya pop, pop, pop.
Gejala rempit dan lumba haram kian membara dalam kalangan anak muda. Di manakah kesudahannya?
Bersama raikan bulan April sebagai bulan kesedaran penyakit Parkinson.
Musim haji bakal tiba. Waspada dengan janji manis visa mujamalah.
Kepada lepasan SPM, rancang hala tuju sebaik mungkin selepas terima keputusan.
Beli dulu, bayar kemudian. Adakah ianya peluang atau perangkap? Saksikan kupasannya dalam Soal Wang.
Isnin hingga Jumaat 10 pagi.
Eksklusif di Tonton dan di TV3.
A woman's spirit is boundless. So grab your coffee cups and wear your sassiest smile. Because this season, we're louder than ever. We talk career, health, finance, relationships, and everything in between. Women's Talk is here to empower and inspire you. Join us on Women's Talk every Saturday, 5 p.m. only on TV3 and stream now on Thursday.
On to the foreign front. No Malaysians are reported to have been affected by the 6.2 magnitude earthquake that struck Istanbul, Turkey. In confirming the matter, the Foreign Ministry in a statement said it is closely monitoring the situation following the tremor. The ministry, through the Malaysian Consulate General in Istanbul, is maintaining close communication with Malaysians in the affected area and with local authorities for the latest updates. In the meantime, Wisma Putra advised Malaysians in Turkey to remain vigilant, follow the guidance of local authorities and take all necessary safety precautions. For consular assistance, Malaysians may contact the Consulate General in Istanbul through the details shown on screen. Earlier, it was reported that a magnitude 6.2 earthquake struck the Turkish capital of Istanbul on Wednesday, marking one of the strongest quakes to strike the city of 16 million in recent years. Turkey's Disaster and Emergency Authority reported that the quake occurred at 12:49 p.m. local time in the Marmara Sea off the coast of Istanbul's Silivri area. The initial quake was followed by 8 others with magnitudes of 3.5 to 5.9. There are no immediate reports of casualties or wider damage so far, but authorities said 151 people were injured after leaping from buildings due to panic. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, in the meantime, said he is personally monitoring the situation and all processes necessary to address the consequences of the natural disaster. Singapore will see 92 out of 97 seats contested in the May 3rd general election, following several surprises on nomination day on Wednesday. A total of 211 candidates filed their papers on nomination day. The ruling People's Action Party, PAP, was the only party to field candidates in all 97 seats across 33 constituencies, with the day also seeing last-minute redeployments of heavyweight ministers, including Deputy Prime Minister Gan Kim Yong to the 4-member Punggol GRC. Meanwhile, the main opposition Workers' Party, WP, which is contesting 26 seats across 8 constituencies, has fielded a slate of charismatic candidates. On the other hand, the Progress Singapore Party, PSP, which contested the largest number of seats of any opposition party in 2020, is fielding a scaled-back contingent of 13 candidates in 6 constituencies. For more than half a century, Singapore has been dominated by the PAP, which is expected to remain in power. However, opposition gains are closely watched as a referendum on the government's popularity. Indian security forces on Wednesday began searching for the gunmen behind an attack on tourists in Jammu and Kashmir that killed 26 people and injured 17 others on Tuesday, the deadliest such incident in decades in the disputed region. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who cut short a state visit to Saudi Arabia, decried the heinous act and pledged that the attackers will be brought to justice. Hundreds of security personnel were deployed to the region to aid in the search for the suspected gunmen, who remain at large. Meanwhile, a little-known militant group, the Kashmir Resistance, claimed responsibility for the attack. In a social media post, it expressed discontent that more than 85,000 quote-unquote outsiders had been settled in the region, spurring a quote-unquote demographic change. India revoked Kashmir's special status in 2019, splitting the state into two federally administered territories, Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. The move allowed local authorities to issue domicile rights to outsiders, allowing them to find jobs and buy land in the territory. However, the decision has led to a deterioration of ties with Pakistan, which also claims the region. Switching to sports now with some football news. National head coach Peter Kalmovsky remained optimistic about Harimau Malaya's chances of overcoming Vietnam in their 2027 AFC Asian Cup Group F qualifier this June. Despite acknowledging the strength of the Vietnamese side, the 46-year-old Australian is confident that with the right preparation and mindset, Malaysia can rise to the occasion.
Yeah, I want to definitely have some friendly games. That'll be announced hopefully a little bit later. I think 2 would be enough for us at home. Because again, the off-season period is a tricky situation. We'll need to get some games to get into rhythm for the Vietnam game.
Kalmovsky also highlighted the importance of the upcoming centralised training camp, scheduled to begin as early as May 16th. The camp will be vital in allowing players to recover from a gruelling league season and to prepare mentally and physically for the high-stakes fixture. For the record, Harimau Malaya have suffered 5 consecutive defeats to Vietnam in all competitions, including a 3-0 loss during the group stage of the 2022 ASEAN Cup. In the Group F opening games last month, Vietnam trounced Laos 5-0, while the national team secured a 2-0 win over Nepal. Only the group winners will advance to the 2027 Asian Cup in Saudi Arabia. Still on football, the Saudi Pro League now. Al Nassr left it late to beat Damak 3-2 away on Tuesday, relying on a stoppage time goal from stand-in captain Sultan Al Ghanam to give them all 3 points. 11th placed Damak opened the scoring in the 18th minute with defender Ramzi Sullen heading home at the back post. However, their advantage lasted less than 10 minutes as Spanish centre-back Aymeric Laporte's deflected shot got Al Nassr back on level terms. The visitors took the lead in the second half after a smart first-time finish from Ali Al Hassan, only for Damak's Nikolai Stancho to respond with a brilliant strike of his own. Al Ghanam, wearing the captain's armband in place of Cristiano Ronaldo, proved the hero for Al Nassr as he reacted fastest in the box to slam home a loose ball in the 94th minute. With the results, Al Nassr remained in 3rd place on the table with 60 points, 8 points behind leaders Al Ittihad.
Referee blows for time.
Well, that is it for Nightline. We leave you with striking visuals of volcanoes erupting with red-hot lava, sending plumes of emissions into the sky. With that, I'm Azaria Tagaya. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.